Max, I'm so curious what your take is on this Reddit situation and just how difficult a job Steve Huffman is stepping into.
I'm perhaps fortunately not close enough to know exactly what's going on, but it's certainly our own version of Silicon Valley soap opera playing out right here, right now. So it's fascinating to watch, if kind of sad for what really should be about focus on the users. I bet it's going to be a really tough job. The juxtaposition of an incredibly vocal, active user base and a company that has to depend on that user base for all the content that it has to offer, which is how it makes its money, how it gets its traffic. It's a codependent relationship. These people need to believe that the management team has their best interest in mind, and when they don't, they get angry. And
right,
CEOs
very
resign.
Angry.
So yeah, I wonder what Ben thinks about what's going on here, but the history of Reddit is replete with these complicated upheavals.
Right. Ben, I want to bring you into this. You know, Sam Altman, who's a board member at Reddit and announced some of these changes, said in his post it was sickening to see some of the things that Redditors wrote about Ellen. If the Reddit community cannot learn to balance authenticity and compassion, it may be a great website, but it will never be a truly great community. You know, do you think that Reddit should be the place for this sort of ugly underbelly of the internet?
You know, anytime you scale a business, especially a user-generated content business, you're going to see amazing content as well as terrible people acting terribly. But what's really important here is to recognize the gender dynamic that happened to Ellen Pao. She is a female CEO, having gone through a sexual harassment lawsuit, which was unsuccessful, but the amount of vitriol that was directed not just at Ellen for her job, but also regarding her gender is what really caused a lot of people to say, this is absolutely terrible, and probably made them resist the calls from the community even more so.
So, do you think that Steve has a better chance just because he's a man?
I think Steve has a better chance, not because he's a man, but because he has the authenticity of being a co-founder. So one of the things that Ellen really lacked in terms of her role was not only this duration of getting to know the community and having to be able to build trust, but she didn't have the ability to say, I am one of you, I am authentically one of you from the beginning, that the co-founders can actually do. So the users are going to give the co-founders a lot more leeway, even though they may or may not be the best choice.
Max, you're nodding. You know, do you think that Redditors are claiming freedom of speech, right? And yet you see anti-women, anti-Semitic, racist comments on Reddit. Is that kind of stuff okay on Reddit if they want to become a strong business? Not just a community, but a business.
So I think it's just not okay, period. I take a very strong stand against hate speech. I think there's freedom of speech, and then there's more, and more is not acceptable.
So how does Reddit handle that?
That's, I think, exactly where I agree with Ben. I think an authentic voice saying, here's what's okay in this community and here's what's not, is what's necessary. I don't think people that say terrible things will stick around, but frankly, I don't think Reddit wants them to stick around if they choose to be a big company that becomes a source of information, source of news, source of opinions, even controversial opinions, but right, within a frame of sanity and civility. The only person who can tell the community, hey, here's how it's going to be from now on, is a founder. I think that's right, the level of authority it'll take.
I want to hear from both of you, and Ben, I'll start with you. What can Reddit be?
So Reddit can be the front page of the web that they really have started out to be. However, the traffic has gone to mobile. One of the biggest problems that Ellen Pao faced was not just the updating of the technology, but that people's habits of consumption have really changed. Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, everybody has shown up in this party for user-generated content, and now they can actually fill very different roles. And Reddit's core value is, hey, we let anybody create a subreddit that can actually grow into anonymous communities and large, and the same tactic that allows people to flower their creativity and expression is the one that also actually harbors some of these darker sides.
Quickly, Max, can Reddit be a strong, legitimate business? What do you think?
I think so. I think it's a real-time, anonymous poll of the public opinion, which sometimes turns ugly, but is fascinating to people and therefore a perennial source of interesting traffic, but it has to reinvent itself for the mobile world.